Hi there, I'm Susan Baker, mom of two. My son is 10 on the autism spectrum and my daughter is 6. I have a background in science and nutrition, and I've been teaching and speaking about nutrition for close to 20 years. I have firsthand belief in the power of food, specifically the nutrition and behavior link, for a while now because of my own personal experience. So going from an anemic, exhausted university student with chronic allergies and IBS to an energetic, vibrant, allergy-free, great digestion young woman, and now mom of two. But I've also seen the impact of food on my kids. So although my kids have always been raised eating healthy whole foods, I could still see where food and eating affected their behavior. Like most adults as well, both my kids would become monsters if they didn't eat regularly, keeping that blood sugar even. And you kind of find out about that the hard way. It's so important for both of my kids to get really healthy fats and good protein to keep their blood sugar stable. So that's one of the easiest tricks I make sure I do with both my children. My daughter, if she has candy or anything that contains artificial colors in particular, she's off the wall. And we know that artificial colors are one of the most linked food additives to behavior challenges in most children. With my son, of course, I'm very conscious of the role that food plays on his mood and his behavior. He's nonverbal. And for all of our spectrum kids, I believe, it's, really truly not about changing who they are, because these are phenomenal people. But it's about helping them feel better in their body, really supporting them so that they can thrive being who they are. And I truly believe, and I've seen how food has that impact on our kids. For example, if a child is constipated, can you imagine, even yourself, somebody who doesn't have a bowel movement for 5 to 7 days, usually you feel terrible. And so can you imagine being a child on the autism spectrum without a voice, without any words to be able to describe what that feels like in the body? And so sometimes there's a link between that and their behavior. We often feel that behavior is just a symptom of what's going on in the body. And so absolutely, it's worth looking at that link between what we feed our body, what we feed our kids' bodies, and how they feel. With my son, we've always had him on a healthy whole foods diet, even when he was a younger picky eater. We would try to do whatever we could to get whatever we could into him. And I would say, though, that the biggest shift happened when he was around 5 years old. And so I became a lot more strict on his diet, on the really good things that could go into it, primarily fruits and vegetables, even if it was limited. Whole grains, gluten-free, always actually, but primarily focused on starches from vegetables. So we really went towards a more paleo diet with elimination of sugars and a really great focus on healthy fats and proteins. And nuts and seeds and fruits and veggies. It sounds super idealistic, and it was tough in the beginning, but it totally made a difference. We changed that, knowing it would have an impact on his gut health and overall health. And we also added a whole food supplement to his supplement regime, him and my daughter, because it was around this age when I looked at my daughter as well. She was 18 months at the time, and my son was 5, and I thought, you both need more. You need more in the area of fruits and veggies. You don't need another multivitamin or anything like that. You need more phytonutrition from fruits and vegetables. And so I called my friend who had told me about this product called Juice Plus specifically. And I said, listen, I didn't really think we needed it. I don't need it. I'm a nutritionist. I get everything that I need from food, but I do think my kids would benefit from an extra boost of fruit and vegetable nutrition. And so I got my kids on it, and I actually got my partner and I on it as well. And honestly, it was their best winter to date. They didn't get sick as often, and if they did get sick, they got over it sooner, and it wasn't as bad. Anytime we see kids with chronic ear infections or strep throat, you really want to get to the root of what's going on in that immune system and be able to support them. But I'm going to tell you something really neat. What happened after probably about, I would say, 2 months or so of having my son on the fruit and vegetable concentrate, and with him we had to do something a little bit different. I'll tell you that in a second. I came down one day into the kitchen, and there he was at the kitchen island with the fridge door wide open, sitting there eating a bag of raw carrots for the first time. And I'm just like, what is going on? He didn't even have the word or the picture symbol in his little binder for communication of a carrot, because, he'd never eaten one before. Why would I think he ever wanted one? So he'd gone on his own into the fridge and pulled out this bag of, I was just like, oh my gosh, I got choked up. I was overwhelmed. I grabbed my phone, I took a photo, I still have it, and I was just like, oh my goodness, the power of fruits and vegetables, the power of nutrition. When we make even sometimes small changes to our kids' daily eating, it can have a big change on their health. Just like you and I as adults, when we start to eat better over time, your body starts to want more of that. And I truly believe that's what happened with my son, because it didn't stop there. It was carrots, and then it was cucumbers, and then it was strawberries, all these things he'd had issues with before because of the texture or maybe the smell or the look of them. And so I truly believe that by giving him the concentrated fruit and veggie, his repertoire for fruits and vegetables expanded from there, and we have not looked back. He is one of the healthiest 10-year-olds in terms of eating that I know. And even my daughter, who is very picky, her repertoire has expanded as well. So really, really awesome. With kids, most kids, it's very easy just to give them the fruit and vegetable chewables. But with my son and a lot of other kids on the autism spectrum, they have a real issue with texture.